Well, welcome back, everybody. John McAllister has been one of the players of the year. 2 titles, and that is what Ian Alley needs to go through to make it to the hot seat. Mark Shepherd and Simon Webb still with you. We thought he'd go to the random draw, Mark. He has, but for my money, that is, other than drawing Tom Cousins, the worst draw he could have got in current form.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's the worst draw in terms of John being in great form, and it's also the one that has no real upside, because if he gets one of the bounties, if he beats them, he gets the bounty, whereas John has no money on his head. It's just a difficult draw.
Yeah, agreed. And, but the problem, I think the problem that John has is that Ian's playing so well, and John sometimes can be a slightly slow starter in tournaments. It obviously goes without saying for a lot of players, I think, that you're more likely to get them in round 1 than you are in the deeper into the tournament you go. But I think that's kind of very much true with John. Sometimes he can be a little bit slow on the start, and that's what Ian would like to see. But I guess he won't care if he gets 4 chances the way he's playing. That will probably be enough.
Yeah, I mean, some of what we said before, like, he really has been the standout player so far. He's won more matches than anybody else, and he's done it in quite considerable style. I mean, it's just been clearance after clearance this morning. He's had something like 7 first visit clearances already in the first 2 matches. It's a tough standard, whoever you're playing.
He's got quite a nice angle on this one because he's going away from the 8 ball. You kind of think it's awkward, but there's so much space. I think he's got enough angle that he can just go away and come back down. And come back down in line. Yeah, it was a touch straighter than I thought, actually. He had to really force it to create the angle, but he's done a good job of it, but this still needs to be cued in.
Yeah, this is a sign of how well he's playing. It's very easy to flick these away from the cushion, get kind of in behind them.
Oh, it rattled, it stopped, it fell, and calm as you like, Ian Alley just walks away like, yeah, no problem. Oh, that's some break. Ian's playing so incredibly well right now. I just thought I'd quickly look through and try and work out the stats on him. So he's won every match by getting to 4 frames. So he's on 21 frames. He's only lost 5. It's serious going.
Yeah, I mean, yesterday he looked good, but this morning he's just looked unbelievable. Like, it just seems to have taken it up one level even from where he was last night. It's often the way that, particularly with this format of tournament, one player sort of comes out of the crowd. They're not necessarily the one you're expecting. So far it's been Ian, but obviously it's also a very harsh format in that it can change very quickly. One first to 4 match and it can be over. So he's got to keep at it.
That's a very poor positional shot from John. Overhit that, wanted to keep it well below the break line so he could play the one he's just pointed at as a drop into the centre. Yeah, not particularly close with that one either. Decent chance for John that goes pegging.
Not the way he wanted to start. Wanted to try and stay in position and make that clearance easy. Ended up having to take on a very high tariff pot. It's a slightly awkward situation for Ian, but that hasn't been much of a problem so far this morning.
The one near the right centre pocket is more of a problem than the rest here. It kind of doesn't really fit what he's got left and going to be tricky to deal with.
So you just take his medicine and play down for a double on it.
Oh, double might have to be the last ball now. It's not ideal. He could come back for it now. It makes more sense to come back for it now, but he's quite a long way away from it. Easier to make this one to bottom left just by dropping it in and just turn it past the 8-ball by one turn. But he is going to come back for the double. I felt like he needed to come back an extra couple of turns so he could play the double as more of a back double rather than a straight double, just to make getting on the yellow at the bottom of the table easier.
Yeah, you're going to have to play it a bit firmer now to get the position. And that was the reason he missed the pot. A let off for John McAllister. He let slip one good chance in this frame. He's been presented with an easier one now. John's been watching a lot of what's gone before. He'll have seen that Ian hasn't really been giving much away, so when he gets gifted a chance like this, he knows he's got to take it. It's like the table's playing a little quicker than he's expecting. He's disappeared up to the top end of the table a couple of times already in this frame.
Yeah, twice the yellow's kind of got in the way for him, hasn't it? And the miss there is all about the cue ball, not the pot. He was only concentrating on the cue ball.
Yeah, it looked a very reckless miss because it looked like it was a pretty much unmissable shot, but it was trying to get the position. It's not a chance Ian would have expected to get, even though he's off angle for the easier way of playing position here. He's got to be taking confidence from the fact that his opponent's already missed 2 balls in this frame. Oh, how's this for a shot? If this goes past the 8-ball, oh, played with rakes of side, forcing an angle that wasn't really naturally there. It's always going to be tough to get down this end of the table. It's not in the worst position. If you can get to the left-hand side cushion and play this off one cushion, it's going to get the yellow close to the pocket. So, 3rd chance in this frame for John McAllister. He's not made much progress with the previous 2. He's going to have to look to play the ball up the rail as a kind of shot to nothing. Knows that he's got the 2 balls that he can cover the yellow. If the red does drop in, he's got the ball to the centre next.
Didn't see this frame coming, in all honesty. I really didn't. I thought Ian was going to continue on, and the way that John hit his first break, I just thought we're going to end up with a similar match to what we saw earlier on with who gets the chances, but been a scrappy frame.
Yeah, this is an example of how difficult it is to come out cold, because we've hyped John McAllister up a lot already today. He's played very well in his last couple of tournament appearances. Well, surely he hasn't missed that. Surely. What are we seeing in this frame?
I'm in shock. I'm in complete shock. I mean, it's been dominant from Ian Ali. He's made more mistakes in this frame alone than the previous 5 matches combined, by quite a distance as well.
He's only lost 2 frames in the previous 2 matches. He's had 8 first visit clearances already today, and now he's just missed the simplest out imaginable. John McAllister, who really doesn't want to win this frame, he's missed 3 himself, is going to be forced to take it in the end.
John almost came to the table and looked a little bit confused, having a very simple run out himself. He couldn't looked like he didn't know which way round he wanted to go about it. I think they're both a little bit shocked with the way it's gone themselves.
We saw this a few times yesterday, where players played very well for their first 2 matches, and it was the 3rd match that they needed to get into the hot seat where the trouble started.
Won the last event, the Players' Championship, just a couple of weeks ago.
Well, will this act as a warning shot for Ian that he's played so poorly that it'll jolt him into action, or is this going to be the unravelling of what's looked a fairly perfect performance so far this morning? $2-0 would have been so big there because John was just playing so poorly by his own standards. It would have been very hard to see a way back. Now 1-1, John's got the chance to regroup and go again.
Ian's got to be careful here, though. This isn't a nice layout, and if he chases and doesn't get it, he's really opening the door, and all of a sudden John will start to find his game, you feel. Now, Ian's gone completely off the boil.
Well, this is a remarkable turnaround. I mean, he could not have played any better the first 2 matches, and even the first frame of this match, and then suddenly that last frame, it's just, the wheels are off for both players. This is what the situational pressure can do, though. The fact that this is only a race to 4, and the fact that they're in the money isn't really going to be much of a consolation for either of them. Neither of them have come here to get 12th place. They're both just seeing this as a good chance to go deeper in this tournament as we approach the end of the first session of play. Two more matches to come after this one, and then we'll be resuming at 6 o'clock for the final session. We're playing down to a winner tonight.
Red goes to bottom left. He wants to be straight enough to get on the one at the bottom of the table, and I'm not sure that he is. Yeah, so he's just having a look at. He's going into the red.
That's a well-judged shot there. Had to play with a lot of right-hand side to try and force that angle. It's a nice shot when it comes off that. It's one of the few times when playing with a lot of side on an otherwise straightish shot where you're not using a cushion can change the angle of the shot. It's a sort of unnatural one to judge, though. He can get himself 2-1 up. John's going to be delighted. The way this match started, that did not look a likely situation a few minutes back.
Well, I'm a little bit surprised there that he's played into the 8-ball. I felt he could just nip it, and he wasn't going to get up the table, but if he could have just sat next to the 8-ball there, the cue ball would have been about 3-4 turns more to the right-hand side, making it a fairly routine clip to the top left, and the 8-ball still went to the centre. Now he's going to have to play this very thin. The cue ball's going to be doing quite a bit of work here.
This is a more difficult pot than it looks. It may look like it's hanging over the pocket, but it's actually quite thin.
That's why I'm surprised he didn't just accept what he had, which was just to hold the cue ball on the previous shot, because he would have tracked down the from further right. He'd have tracked more down the open line of the table, and the 8-ball would have been waiting to right centre. So he's got a very tough 8-ball because of it. Hammers it home though. Excellent 8-ball.
Well, especially as, I mean, I'm not saying this is going to happen because there's plenty of time to go in this match, but if Ian Alley was to get knocked out here, how harsh would that be for him to finish 12th after the run that he's had?
Yeah. Oh, I thought this was going to be a golden break on at least 2 occasions. In the end, it's just worked out as a very nice break and a really, really good chance here on the Reds. Ian Alley could be under pressure, real pressure, for the first time in this year's Last Man Standing, if John can find the finish.
In the space of about 5 minutes, John's gone from a man who was probably thinking that his role in this tournament was going to be pretty limited to one that's probably now thinking, well, actually, hang on a minute, if I just keep at this, we could get something going here. For the remaining players, it's all really luck of the draw which order they come out in, because There are no easy draws left. If you can manage to ladder up a few spots, you're leaving yourself in a position where you potentially only need to win 3 matches, and then possibly you come back right at the end. Kind of exciting times. Anytime you're sort of in the money, you feel like you're free rolling a bit more. People have got their expenses covered effectively for the weekend, so now it's the chance to really focus on the big prize.
John's still a little bit at sea with this cue ball. He's not quite as pinpoint as he was at the Players a few weeks ago. Yeah, he's the wrong side of straight again. Still expect him to have no issues here, but his plan was to turn the other side of straight, and the one he's about to play now would have probably ended up as his last ball. May have to leave the 8 ball to the bottom right hand corner. He's looking to see if he can nip this back and play the thin cut, but you just have to accept that you've got the bad angle here. You didn't come back far enough, and if he drops right behind the 8 ball to the bottom corner, he's not going to miss it.
Coming to that realisation as well. Yeah, I agree with you. He doesn't quite look completely settled. A few fairly elementary looking positional shots. He seems to be giving a bit more thought than he might otherwise.
There's 2 more matches left, and he can't play again this session.
Having not really felt much pressure this morning, Ian's under the utmost pressure. He's got to win at least 2 more frames to force a 6-red shootout, ideally 3 to win the match. He's got time to win at least 2, but not if he's missing balls like that.
It's but very jarring how big a turnaround we've seen in Ian's level here. He was playing an amazing level of pool up until this match. Coming into it 20 frames to 5. Coming into this match he had won 5 matches in total, and he's just fallen off completely.
Such a harsh format, isn't it? He's done all the right stuff.
And he started this match with a break clearance as well, didn't he? Amazing how it's turned around.
We were talking earlier about the difference in his tournament record from his money match record. One factor there is that a lot of those money matches he's playing are over very long distances, where you can afford to have a purple patch and then a spell where you're not doing so well and you can still get back into it. Do not have that luxury in this format of tournament.
Well, there's hope here for Ian, because John's going to struggle to get out from here. Now, I know he's running the clock down, but he is going to leave, well, 2 minutes just under if he doesn't get out here. I suppose if he makes the double, he'll get it down to about 145, 140. Well, that's enough time for a counter clearance. And then he'd need a dry break from John and another quick one, but the tiniest bit of hope for him. John putting the red in amongst the yellows, trying to make it as awkward as possible. But I think this plant is fine, 3-ball plant. Well, not to be. It's going to take another 15 off the clock.
Yeah, I like John's idea there. There's no real point potting that loose red if you weren't going to get the other one. It did look like he'd left a plant. I thought his plan had actually gone wrong like you, but somehow the plant has gone astray. Now time a major factor for Ian. He's really going to have to clear up at this visit, and the balls aren't perfectly situated for a quick clearance. Well,
He's had enough. He's had enough. He has realised he can't get out from there.
And that gives you a choice. I had a quick word to you before we put the mic on, and you said you still weren't sure, so we'll let you know. You can either go to the random draw, or you can pick one of these fine gentlemen out. We'll put the list of names up on there just in case you need it. Our 3 hitmen are still in play. Tom Cousins with Beemore, Prasad's Jack Whelan, Omniotherapy's Phil Harrison. Christy Caulfield is safe from a call-out or a draw, Everyone else is available. What do you want to do?
I'm going to go random.
Random draw for John McAllister. Okay. Those names in white are all in the hat. Who is it going to be? Come on down. Phil Harrison, a hitman, enters the fray. You may as well have called him out, John.
Yeah, I might as well.